Hello, good people. Thank you for stopping by. This is Adina Denane. Last night and yesterday, I posted that I would be sharing chapter one of Hair, My Story. It's not just hair. So, if you don't know or you're just new to the channel, on November 2nd, I made a post that I will start a mini series about it was titled Hair, My Story. It's not just hair. And the purpose and the reason for me wanting to now share my story and, my hair loss journey is because I wanted to help some people who may be dealing with the same issues. Now, some may be saying, okay, we're dealing with C-19 and people don't have jobs and people are trying to find a place to live. And we're talking about hair, how vain that may be. But my response to that is, yeah, even with C-19, even with people losing their jobs, even with people without homes, you know and other issues that may have been stacked up, I realized that people were already dealing with issues before 2020 happened and before these new issues happen. And just because we get piled up with new things, that doesn't mean the old things have gone away. So let's think about, dealing with C-19 and dealing with, different things that's going on in the world right now, some political injustices and things like that. You know, People still have self issues that they have to deal with. So my job on this channel, and I feel like my purpose right now, is if I could comfort someone, if I can be here for someone and just help them and walk them through, or just share my story, or they get a little bit in encouragement, even with this all going on, then my mission has been fulfilled. And then if I can enlighten others who may not be dealing with hair loss, but maybe some hairstylists who have clients who are now dealing with that, or loved ones who have family members who may have be dealing with hair loss. And the hair loss could be for any reason: alopecia, thyroids, fibroids, cancer, any reason. So just to help enlighten others too, that hair, my story, our story, it's not just hair. And so that's the reason why I asked you all to come join me, and why I'm going to start just this little series called Hair, My Story. It's not just hair, just my journey of hair. So today is chapter one, and it's called The Beginning. And just wanted to start off with sharing when it started. So it started about 2004, 2005. I noticed there were days that I would comb my hair and brush my hair, and I would start seeing it shed, but didn't really pay much attention to it, just maybe thinking, okay, just some hair just shedding, no big deal. But then I started realizing, like, the back of my hair, especially like on these sides, on the back sides, I would start experiencing that it was starting to go clearly bald, like it was smooth. But being that I had a lot of hair, thick hair, long hair so long and thick that people actually used to ask me if my real hair was a weave or a wig. So I was able at that time to cover it up, pull it back in a ponytail, and just kind of go with it. So one day, went to one of my girlfriend's house, hey Tanea, and asked her, like, hey, what do you think this is? And so she was like, it looks like alopecia. But of course, we still weren't sure. Then another one of our friends came over, hey Shelby, and we asked her to. Yeah, looks like alopecia. It ain't nothing like having prayer warrior partners as your friends. So immediately we got in this circle. They prayed for me, you know, asked God to help me, deal with whatever was going on. And so I left it at that, like, okay, maybe I'm getting stressed out, maybe I'm worried about some things, and just kept going on. But hair didn't stop falling out. Hair didn't stop shedding. Still was getting patches. So I do the next best thing. I go to the doctor. My general doctor didn't know what was going on. She couldn't diagnose, why my hair was falling out. She was thinking it could be the thyroids getting out of whack. That is something that I suffer from, hypothyroidism. So could have been that, could have been a medication, could have been anything. So she referred me over to a dermatologist. So dermatologist saying, okay, yes, the hair is falling out, alopecia, really not. And honestly, I don't even recall the doctor really going into details about everything. And that part of it is kind of like blurred out a little bit, I'll be honest, in my mind. But I do remember them diagnosing me treatments. Like, we're going to give you these shots. We're going to put you on these shots and just randomly put shots in your head to reactivate the hair follicles to get them to grow. So I was going there, a couple of weeks, going there back and forth, getting the shots. But I'll be honest, the shots started getting expensive. And even though I was seeing some results, I wasn't seeing like full blown results that I thought I would see. And then, in addition to that, so where they were shooting the shots, the hair was going back, but the hair was coming out in other places. So still wasn't, quite sure, like, is my thyroid still out of whack? Like, what's going on? So then I got heavy on my medication, but then of course you read the side effects. So pray for me, y'all. But this was back then. So side effects was the medication would cause hair loss. So I'm like, okay, I'm taking medication to get my thyroids in order so the hair will stop falling out, which is called alopecia. And then I'm like, okay, but the medication is going to make my hair fall out. So it was a bunch of that back and forth with the medicine, the thyroids, the getting shots in the head. And honestly, I just gave up. Enough was enough. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm over it. But my hair still kept coming out. I still was able to put it back, ponytails, and I kind of rocked it like that for a while. So 2006, I ended up going to New York with my sister for a little while. And so I said, okay, hair's falling out. Maybe I will get a sewn-in weave. That way I won't be combing it. I won't have to worry about relaxers. I won't have to worry about all that stuff. Maybe the sewn-in weave would just give it some time to figure out what it needs to do. Go to salon. The woman was wonderful, but she got so nervous because when she was washing my hair, and she was washing it and washing it and washing it, but it just kept matting up, and it got so tangled and matted. And it was like the more she tried to comb and pull, the more it was coming out. And she was like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I know it's not you. I'm suffering right now. My hair is just doing its own thing. So after she was able to wash it, blow dry it, still with some hair, she was able to braid it down, put the sewn-in weave in. So that was about April of 2016. So I kept the sewn-in weave on for about 2 months or so. But during that process, I started to notice, so if any of y'all know about, when you get a sewn-in weave, they braid your hair down, they take the needle and thread, sew it on your hair. So everything is attached. So one day I'm looking and I could see, so now this is not a wig, this is a sewn-in weave attached to my head. I could see the back of the sewn in weave was detaching from the back of my head. So literally the my hair and the weave, my scalp and the weave had separated. So I remember talking to the phone to my sister, Tavy, we miss you. And I'm like, Tay, when I take this weave out, I'm gonna be bald. And she like, no, you're not, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. I'm gonna be bald because I could start seeing it literally detaching from my head. So about a month or so later, let's say maybe May, June later, I decided, probably June, because I got it in April, so probably around June, I decided to take the wig, I mean, not the wig, the weave out of my hair. So in the mirror, sister house, got the scissors, cutting the needle and thread, cutting, pulling the hair, cutting, pulling the hair. But as I expected, yeah, as I expected, my hair was literally pulling from my scalp with the weave. So it wasn't like I had a wig on, but the way my hair had detached from my head, it was literally like after I cut a few more strands, I literally could take the weave off my head as if it was a wig. I stood in the mirror like I don't know, at that point it's like a disbelief looking at yourself. Once had a head full of hair and now you're looking at your head. Still had some strands, a few patches, but literally the majority of my hair was gone. So I have the best sisters. So my one sister, Mish, she found me one of her wigs. She didn't say much, but I found out later that she really was concerned because she called my mom to be like, Mom, all Athena's hair is gone. Because we really didn't know what to do. And it's crazy now that I think about it. I wasn't like in a rush to go to the doctors. I don't know. It's crazy. It was just like, I gotta start wearing a wig now. I don't know. It was just so many different mix of emotions and feelings. It was really, because I was in New York, live in North Carolina, but I was in New York. So then I think my mind was just like, what's going to happen when I go back to North Carolina? What will my friends think? What will people say? I now have to wear a wig. Do I hide? Do I tell? Do I share? My immediate family knew, but for a while I didn't tell anybody. And this actually happened to me in a good time where, wigs and everything was popping. So it wasn't like, anything big or people just had hair and wear wigs and or wear weaves or anything like that. It, it wasn't uncommon. So it wasn't like people, oh my gosh, she got a wig on. But they didn't know under that wig, I was completely bald. I had lost all my hair. And that's when the journey began with the wigs, the lack of self confidence, the hiding, not sharing, feeling unpretty. and just all the other things, that came with, uh for me, wearing wigs and being bald. And honestly, that was in 2006. It took me 4 years till 2010 till I was comfortable enough to now rock the style that you all see today. So that is the beginning of my hair loss journey. Yeah, that's the beginning. Chapter 1, hair, my story. It's not just hair. The next chapter, is me coming back to North Carolina. How it affected my daughter, the spiritual, my family, my friends, the spiritual side of it, music. And you'll be surprised, the two artists that actually gave me the confidence and courage to, number one, deal with the hair loss, and then two, in 2010, to stop wearing the wigs. So thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening to my story. This part of the chapter 2, I'll be downloading next Friday. Just hair, not my story. And like I said, hair, my story. It's not just hair. Like I said, the purpose for this video is just to encourage someone, to have support, that they're not out here alone, to give a little bit more knowledge and information that I can share with about alopecia and like thyroids. And that's it. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for wanting to be a part of this, to want to know a little part, the intimate part of my life, because honestly, I never really talk about it. Some people may ask, some people are afraid to ask, really, what happened, or I used to get like messages, or do you have cancer, stuff like that. So thank you for wanting to being interested. The the story will progress as we go along in the next chapters, but thank you. Like, share, subscribe to my channel, hang out with me, rock with me. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, just for being here, for listening. And if you know anybody that's suffering, right now with the hair loss, or not being able to open up and share, have them stop by this channel. Have them, watch this series, because we're going to be digging down deep a little bit. So I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thanks for stopping by. This is Edina Denane, and I will look to see you all soon. Be blessed.